Up YouTube? This is Doc Holiday. So I got my lowering springs put on uh about 2-3 days ago, and dropped the car off, picked it up, and for the most part I was happy. They told me that there was gonna have to be some settling. The suspension would settle a little bit more. So I was thinking everything was okay, and the back was really really nice. I liked it. The back tires just started tucking under the fender, and the front was a little high. I mean, it was about one finger gap, both sides. So I was hoping for that to settle, and it really never did. So I was left with a really big gap. Well, not a really big, but a gap on the front and flush tucked on the back, and kind of didn't like that. But that wasn't the real issue. The real issue is the noise from the front. And I'm driving. I don't know if you can hear. I'm gonna try to be quiet. I'm gonna hit some of these bumps right here. Let's see. Nah, not really. It's just you can hear it really good. It's just constant. And not that one. Maybe subtle bumps. I'm hearing it just as there's little imperfections in the road. Anyway, this isn't a very good road, but I mean, you probably could hear it because I'm already doing 40 miles an hour. But when I was researching lowering springs, there's only one lowering spring that comes up for the Toyota Avalon, and that's Vogtland. It's Vogtland. And through further research from there, you can tell that that's the same part. Vogtland uses the same part number for Camry, the V6 Camry. So through research, you can tell that the Camry V6 and the Avalon use the same suspension components within the same year. So a lot of the Camry parts, suspension-wise, will fit. Like you can put Camry coilovers on the Avalon and it'll fit. I wasn't gonna do coilovers. Coilovers are like $1,000. I just wanted to lower my ride. I didn't want to tune the suspension, change the camber and all that. I just wanted to drop my ride, a little bit. I wanted that nice rake, lower in the front than in the rear, drop it, put an exhaust on it, tint the windows, and be done with it, But it was kind of opposite. I had to drop the rear, almost raised in the front. Car almost looks like it was taking off. I'll show you a video when I get to the house. But I was looking up lowering springs, and all the Camry forums, Avalon forums, people talking about lowering, and they're happy, they're pleased, no complaints, they love it. And it's funny because I'm like, cool, got them. $250 on eBay, got them. And I paid them, the shop $225 to put them on. So I'm right at $500 in the suspension, and I'm not happy. And it's because of the noise. So when I started jacking up the car to see, I was like, hey man, I called the shop. I was like, hey man, I'm hearing some clunking up front. And he was like, yeah, it happens, man. He's like, a lot of people, when they drop the car, they hear noise up front. It's just something you got to deal with. Okay, well, I wasn't happy with that answer. So I started jacking the car up and, looking up in there. And when the tires started spreading out from the fender, I started looking up in there with a light, and you can see the coils are literally stacked on top of each other. I mean, they're literally sitting on top of each other. So the clunking I'm hearing is the actual coils slapping each other when it's, rebounding. And so I Googled that. It's like, well, maybe these guys put the springs on wrong or something. So I Googled that, and it's common with every manufacturer lowering spring. I see it over and over and over. Yeah, it's common. You just got to deal with it. Try some lithium grease. It's called coil slap. Or some, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I brought my factory springs home, and I noticed one. The first thing I noticed is they're lighter. They're way lighter. They have less coils. And they're way lighter. So, thinking lighter, I thought you'd thinking cheaper, but obviously the factory springs are stronger than these fucking aftermarket lowering sport springs. These are sport suspension springs, and they're sitting on top of each other. What kind of suspension is that where you got the springs sitting on top of each other? That's ridiculous. So, anyway, long story short, well, not really short because I've been ranting, but uh, don't get lowering springs, man. You're gonna get noise. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people have success. I've seen it on both front and rear wheel drive cars. People complaining about it, but I would say $500 into it, and I want coilovers. I really don't want coilovers. I think what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna take the factory springs, put them on myself. I ain't paying the shop. It's not really hard. I just was lazy, had the money, and decided to, let somebody else do it for me. I'm gonna take these off, put my factories back on. The rear end always sat a little bit low, so I'm not gonna mess with that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put coil clamps. I'm gonna put coil clamps on the front, and I'm gonna clamp those bitches all the way down, and I'm gonna see how it rides. I mean, I've coil clamped other cars before, and I'll tell you the truth, I like them. In one of my videos, I got the Cadillac. I coil clamp those. I coil clamp the front, dropped them down about uh, 2 inches on both sides. So yeah, I'm gonna coil clamp them and see how it looks. It's gonna be better than this. At least I have some actual suspension. I mean, this is bullshit. This is nothing. I mean, they're sitting on top of each other. They're not doing anything. I mean, they're literally stopping the car from dropping because I don't see it. Can't really see it. That's just one coil, but they're all up in there, just all laying on top of each other. And it's not really the bottom. It's like right in the middle. It's fucking ridiculous. But anyway, so show the ride. That's the rear. That's the front. And you can see there's a significant gap in the front compared to the rear. Rear, front. And I was told when I purchased these springs, I would get a 1.6-inch drop in the front and a 1.4-inch drop in the rear, and that would level it out. And it looks like it dropped it evenly. So now my rear is still sitting low, but now it's even more noticeable because now it's like right on the fender versus this one. And give you an idea. See, I can stick my hand in there, no problem. That's as far as I can go with that. So, yeah, not happy with it. Uh, just do your research, man. I mean, I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. I mean, $500 in, and I'm going back to the factory. Um, could have, spent an extra $400, got coilovers, and had some really, really, really dope ass suspension. But I think I'm gonna do what I said. Clamp them, see how it rides, see how it looks, and then uh, if I'm not happy with the gaps in it, I'm just gonna go 22s, man. I didn't want to go 22s because I got those wheel well lights, and these are 7.5-inch rims. You go 22s, you're usually looking at 8.5-inch rims. So I'll lose that gap for the light, and So I had to do away with my wheel lights. It kind of sucks because it's kind of my thing. Like, all my cars had that. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad. People tell me, man, it looks good, it looks fine. It's what I want, and it's what I know. I mean, the front's making fucking clunking noises. That's the biggest turnoff for me. Even when I try to sell it to myself, like, nah, it looks good. It sounds like shit. So at the end of the day, nah, it sounds like shit. They're coming off. I'm off tomorrow and Saturday. Probably come off tomorrow, and I'll update you with a video of what I'm gonna do. You see the before, and we'll see how the after looks. All right.